All right, so I'll start with verse number 283. E aratinarta gananate paila e dui arta mili chabisha arta hoila. In this way, we have found three more meanings of that Atmarama verse. Combine these with the other meanings, and the total number of meanings adds up to 26 in all. So let's see. I'll just repeat what those three meanings. Okay, so last we heard was about Mrigari the hunter, how he became. He's also near Granta in the verse Atmarama Chamunayo near Granta. Near Granta can be taken to mean a hunter. We have a lot of hunters in America, so they can all become devotees too, according. In this way, we have found three more meanings of the Atmarama verse. Combine these with the other meanings, and the total number of meanings adds up to 26 in all. Ara arta shuna jaha, artera bandar, stule dui arta shukme, matrisha pragar. There is yet another meaning which is full of a variety of imports. Actually, there are two gross meanings and 32 subtle meanings. Under the heading of regulative devotional service, there are 16 meanings based on understanding the word Atmarama. Atmarama to mean a servant of the Lord as his personal associate, a personal friend, personal parents or similar superiors, a personal beloved, a servant elevated by spiritual cultivation, a friend by spiritual cultivation, parents and superior devotees by cultivation of devotional service, a beloved wife or female friend by cultivation of devotional service, a mature devotee as a servant, that's Vatsalya, a mature devotee as a friend, a mature devotee as a parent and superior, a mature devotee as a wife and beloved, an immature devotee as a servant, an immature devotee as a friend, an immature devotee as a father or superior, and an immature devotee as a beloved. Similarly, under the headings of spontaneous devotional service, there are also 16 various associates. Therefore, the total number of devotees under the headings of regulative devotees and spontaneous devotees is 32. Wow, okay. Meanings coming up from everywhere, huh? Atma Shabde Kohi Sarvabhauma Bhagavan Eksvayam Bhagavanara Bhagavan Akyan. The word Atma refers to all the different expansions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One of them is the Supreme Lord Himself, Krishna, and the others are different incarnations or expansions of Krishna. And that's the word Atma. Why? They just opened it.
That's because the afternoon was late. But can we wait till 9 and do it at 9? That's our normal time.
Okay. But I thought they gave the deity back there and you didn't need the curtain closed. Well, then close the curtain.
Okay.
Shri Shri Guru Gurani Vandavati
Tate Rame Jai Se Saba Atmarama Bidi Bhakta Raga Bhakta Dui Bidanam. One who always engages in the service of the Lord is called Atmarama. There are two types of Atmaramas. One is an Atmarama engaged in regulative devotional service, and the other is an Atmarama engaged in spontaneous devotional service. So this idea of spontaneous devotional service sometimes becomes misconstrued. Sometimes you say, why didn't you go to this program, or why didn't you come to Mangalarti? And they say, well, I didn't feel inspired from within my heart. You know. But you seem to be inspired from within your heart to not miss breakfast. So I don't know about that. Your definition of spontaneous devotional service. It seems hard to rationalize at times. And that's. But on the other hand, Srila Govinda Maharaj, when he said, as far as Vidhi Marg, of following all the rules and regulations, he said the Westerners are pretty much excluded from Vidhi Marg because he said they can't even pronounce the mantras. So then how could they do Vidhi Marg? Yeah. And actually it's not easy anyway, because Govinda Maharaj gave the example of when Guru Maharaj was approaching, Srila Sridhar Maharaj was approaching someone for a donation, and it was thought, how you're going to get a donation from that person? He's an exclusive Kali Bhakta. He doesn't give to Vaishnavas. He's Kali Bhakta. So, and Guru Maharaj went there, and there's some famous Kali puja that Guru Maharaj knows about, and he watched what was going on, and then he told the person who was the head person, who was the famous Kali Bhakta, he told him, the man who's doing this is doing it completely wrong. Because he said, in the mantra itself, it says that your head should not go to the right or to the left, but you should be looking straight ahead. And while he's saying that, his head's moving to the right or left. So he said, he's doing it wrong, and it says so right in the mantra. And then the man's, more or less, it comes down to this. The man was very much taken by Guru Maharaj and said, he's knowledgeable, he knows, and he said correctly. And then that man wanted to help Guru Maharaj. And one other person who had been always against Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and the devotees, caused him much trouble, but then towards later time, he came to Guru Maharaj and spoke of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he said, he was right and we were wrong. And that man was too much of a famous person to surrender himself to Guru Maharaj, but as recompense, his son became a devotee of Guru Maharaj, like that. So, and they said of Guru Maharaj, they said, the man explained why he was attracted to Guru Maharaj. That man, he says, you have three qualities. He said, deep intelligence, what is it? Deep intelligence, what is it?
Common sense.
Yeah, I'll get to that, but he said, like strong spiritual, what is it?
Impartial dealings.
Oh, impartial dealings, that was it. Disinterested nature. He said you have disinterested nature, deep intelligence, and strong common sense. That's what he said. And then his son, he's a famous person in the community who had opposed Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And his son became a devotee of Guru Maharaj. But that was the man's dealing. doing. Man's doing. Duivida bhakta hoy, chari chari prakara, parishad sanana siddha, sadaka gana ar. Both the Atmaramas engaged in regulative devotional service and those engaged in spontaneous devotional service are further categorized into 4 groups. There are the eternal associates, the associates who have become perfect by devotional service. And those who are practicing devotional service and are called sadhakas, of whom there are 2 varieties. So, obviously some of this is lost on us because we're not knowledgeable in understanding how Sanskrit, it's a Sanskrit verse, Atmarama verse, and how you can properly get all these meanings from the Sanskrit words involved. But Sanatan Goswami is extremely intelligent. Rupa Goswami refers to Sanatan Goswami as his guru. And Sanatan Goswami, he is capable of understanding Mahaprabhu's inner meanings and explanations of the Atmarama verse. And he purposely asked, well, you explained 18 different ways to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And those 18 different ways had prompted Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to accept Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Lord and surrender to him. And after that, although he is previously an impersonalist, after that he tried to change the wording of the Srimad Bhagavatam, a verse that said Mukti Pada, to change it to Bhakti Pada. And then Mahaprabhu explained, well, I can understand the word Mukti Pada to refer to Krishna, at whose lotus feet all the liberated souls take shelter and everything. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, no doubt that's correct, but still, the word mukti prompts us to have, disdain and loathing. Previously he worshipped personal conception, and now just the word mukti is anathema to him. So that was 18 explanations, and then Srila Sanatan Goswami says he had already heard Sambandha Videyam Prayojana from Mahaprabhu, and he says, I wish to hear that Atmarama verse from you. You explained it to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Maybe you could say something. I'd like it if you could tell me what you told him. And Mahaprabhu said, I don't remember when I said to Sanatan Goswami, but I'll try to say something. And Mahaprabhu explains it 61 different ways. These things work good. I could hear the crumpling of the paper and everything. Okay. Jata ajata rati bede saraka dui bed vidi rag mar vidi raga marge chari chari ashtabed. Those who are practicing devotional service are either mature or immature. Therefore, the sadhakas are of 2 types. Since the devotees execute either regulative devotional service or spontaneous devotional service, and there are 4 groups within these 2 divisions, altogether there are 8 varieties. Vidhi Bhaktya Nityasiddha Parishadas Sakaguru Kantagana Chari Vida Prakash. By executing regular devotional service, one is elevated to the platform of an eternally perfect associate, such as a servant, friend, superior, or beloved woman. Each of these is 4 varieties. So, yeah, if you're going. So this, not, yes. So if you're going to speak, yeah?
I came late, but you were talking about the different, like immature and mature. Is there no distinction between that? Like,
What?
you talked about immature friend, immature beloved, or mature beloved. There's no distinction between being mature and immature?
Of course there's a distinction. Otherwise, why would these divisions exist?
Exactly. You were listing 30 different types of personalities? Or?
This is on a devotional level of rasa.
Okay.
So immature and mature, like for instance, mature Vatsalya rasa, that would be an elderly associate of Krishna, like an aunt or an auntie or an uncle or something like that. And mature and immature would be maybe a younger cousin or something like that. You can tell. I would say mature and immature in this context would refer more to age.
Age,
Okay, to age. Mature meaning they're older than Krishna, and immature meaning they're younger than Krishna. Like that. Vidi Bhaktya Bhakti Nitya Siddha Parisha Das Sakaguru Kantagana Chari Vida Prakash Chari. Okay. By executing regular devotional service, one is elevated to the platform of an eternally perfect associate, such as a servant, friend, superior, or beloved woman. Each of these is of 4 varieties. So, so we'll say beloved woman, because then after Vatsalya, we're talking about Madhura Ras. So if we're talking about a lover of Krishna, then naturally it's going to be a woman, because Vatsalya Ras can be an uncle or an aunt, friends like that, but ultimately. So then Sadhana Siddhadas, Sakaguru Kantagan, Jatarati, Saraka Bhakta, Chari Virajan. Among those who have perfected themselves by devotional service, there are servants, friends, superiors, and beloved damsels. Similarly, there are 4 types of mature devotees. Mm-hmm. Superior and beloved damsels, that can be also, not all, they're also elderly gopis too. But even elderly gopis, they may still, think of Krishna as have some loving, some feeling, amorous feelings towards Krishna. And I remember in some of the readings I've read, talked humorously about one elderly person who was feeling some, attraction to Krishna, as a lover or something, and then they were like making jest of her. Like that. Nowadays they would say, well, she's taking out her teeth and putting them in a glass of water. Ajatarati Saraka Bhakta Echari Prakar Vidimarge Bhakti Shodasha Veda Prachar. Within the category of regulative devotional service, there are also immature devotees. These are also of 4 varieties. Thus, in regulative devotional service, there are altogether 16 varieties. And one person I remember, she said, she told, I have, let's see, something like, I have granddaughter who's older than one of my daughters or something. Someone told like that to Govinda Maharaj, and Govinda Maharaj says, she was very proud. She was very happy to say that, and he said, in India she would be beaten. So, I mean, there are different social mores in different places. They have different considerations. And so, you know, in the United States, and sometimes people get married when they're 75 years old, or later even. Of course, none of them become presidents.
But maybe the hunter will become a devotee.
Yeah.
What was that, Maharaj? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
I didn't either. Jata rati saraka bhakta echari prakar vidimarge bhakti shodasha veda prachar. Within the category of regulative devotional service, there are also immature devotees, of which I might be one of them. These are also for varieties. Thus, in regulated devotional service, there are altogether 16 varieties. Raga marge aichi bhakti shodasha vibhed dui marge atmaramer patrisha vibhed. On the path of spontaneous devotional service, there are also 16 categories of devotees. Thus, there are 32 types of Atmaramas enjoying the Supreme Lord on these two paths. Muni nirgranta e api chari shabdir arta jahanshe lage taha hariye samarta. When these 32 types of devotees are qualified with the word muni, nirgranta, cha, and api, the meanings can be increased in different ways and very soundly elaborated upon. Patrisha Chabishe Mili Ashta Panchas Ara Ek Veda Shuna Artera Prakash. When we add the 36 types of devotees to these 32, when we add the 26 types of devotees to these 32, they altogether number 58. You may now hear from me of further manifestations of meanings. Itarata cha diya samasha koriye atana bara atmarama namaloye. In this way, as I add the word cha to one word after another, I make a compound. Thus, the different names of Atmaramas can be taken 58 times. Atmaramascha, Atanabar, Sheshe Sab, Lopakori, Raki Ekbar. In this way, one can repeat the word Atmarama with cha for each of the 58 meanings by following the rule previously stated and rejecting all but the last. We retain that which represents all the meanings. So you could say Atmaramacha, Atmaramacha, Atmarama, but you wouldn't do that because obvious. You wouldn't do that in Sanskrit. You wouldn't do that in English. You wouldn't just say Atmaramacha, Atmaramacha, Atmaramacha. So the rule is if they're all the same endings, you can just take the last one. So that's what this is referring to. And I mean, some things to me actually have meaning even though they're from Sanskrit, because that's the way languages work. And Sarupanam Ek Shesha Ek Vibhakto Uptartanam Aprayogiti. Okay. Sarupanam ek, Shesha ek, Vibhakto Uktartanam Aprayoga iti. Of words having the same form and case termination, the last one is the only one retained. From Painini's Sutras, rules of Sanskrit. Atana cha kares sab lopahoy ek atmarama shabde atana artakoy. When all the chakaras or additions of the word cha are taken away, 58 different meanings can still be understood by the one word Atmarama. So, Mahaprabhu is showing us can be, an immature devotee, meaning a younger devotee, an older devotee, and this can be on the level of dasha ras, servitude, sakya ras, friendship, vatsalya ras, as a parent or aunt, uncle, or it can be on the level of madhura ras, of lover. And there's all different possibilities. So then Mahaprabhu is saying, okay, these are different meanings that are all contained within this shloka. So I can explain it on the basis of each of the words. If I break it down, I can explain it that all these different kinds of Atmaramas are attracted by Krishna. They all have this in common. They may be all different varieties, different shades, different things. And if you think about it, that's what's happening with us anyway. Because, Gurudev, he's not attracting one kind of person. He's attracting everybody. And some persons may be of this ilk, that they're here on the on the, what do you call it, on the scale. Maybe somebody's young and rash. Like I think a lot of us, when we joined the mission, we were pretty rash, I mean, when I came and I heard about this, and then I heard about the 4 regulative principles, and I thought, well, yeah, I'm really have interest in all of this, and I have interest in devotional service. But what are these 4 regulative principles good for? Who needs them? Who needs those 4 regulative principles? I was thinking, they're superfluous. We don't need to follow them. And, different persons came. Some took, and the original devotees who first joined, the group like Shyam Sundar and all these persons, I heard when they took initiation, they heard that they had to not eat meat. So, people come and there are different considerations, and some people would be very religious, and some people would be not religious at all, not interested, to see. But everyone was attracted. Ashwatthama vrikas cha, bhatta vrikshas cha, kapita vrikshas cha, amra vrikshas cha, vriksha. By the plural word vriksha, trees, all trees such as banyan trees, fig trees, kapita trees, and mango trees are indicated. Asmin bane vrika phalanti jaichi hoy taichi sab atmarama krishna bhakti karai. The Atmarama verse is like the sentence, in this forest many different trees bear fruit. All the Atmaramas render devotional service to Lord Krishna. Like the other week I've seen it several times. I saw that these little jars they had gotten donated. I don't know, about 50, 60 of these little jars, and they were all Venus flytrap. Somebody had donated little baby Venus flytraps. To what?
Trader Joe.
I don't know. You know. And I looked at them. They were little baby plants. So I said, do these things really work? They do? But then do you have to clean the flies out of it or no?
They digest them.
Oh. Doesn't seem vegetarian. Non-vegetarian plants. You're supposed to eat plants, and the plants themselves are not vegetarian. All right. By the plural word vrika, trees, all trees, such as banyan trees, fig trees, kapita trees, and mango trees are indicated. Asmin vane brika phalanti jaiche hoy, taichi sab atmarama krishna bhakti karai. The Atmarama verse is like the sentence, in this forest many different trees bear fruit. All Atmaramas render devotional service to Lord Krishna. Atmaramas cha samuchaye kohiye chakar munias cha bhakti kore e artatar. After uttering the word Atmarama 58 times and taking cha in the sense of aggregation, one may add the word munaya. That will mean that great sages also render devotional service to Lord Krishna. In this way, there are 59 meanings. Nirgranta eva haya api nirdarane a una shashti prakar arta korilun vyakyane. Then taking the word nirgranta and considering api in the sense of sustenance, I have tried to explain a 59th meaning of the verse. Sarva samuchaye ara ek arta hoy atmaramas cha munayas cha nirgrantas cha bhajai. Taking all the words together, there is another meaning. Whether one is an Atmarama, great sage, or a nirgranta, everyone must engage in the service of the Lord. The word sarva samuchaya is significant here. It includes all classes of men, Atmaramas, Munis, and Nirgrantas. Everyone must engage in the service of the Lord. Taking the word api in the sense of ascertainment, there are altogether 60 different meanings. So this is Prabhupada's use of English. It says it includes all classes of men, Atmaramas, Munis, and Nirgrantas, but in that sense we could say men includes women too, because that's, when we say, sometimes I'm not going to go into that, but it's just grammar. Api Shabda Avadarane Seho Charibar Chari Shabda Sange Evera Koribe Uchar. The word api is then used in the sense of ascertainment, and then the word eva can be uttered 4 times with 4 words. Urukrame eva bhaktim eva ahetukim ahaitukim eva korvanti eva. The words urukrama, bhakti, ahaituki, and korvanti are added to the word eva again and again. Thus another meaning is explained. Eta kohilun shlokara shashti sangyaka arta areg arta shuna pramane samarta. Now I have given 60 different meanings of the verse, and yet there is another meaning which is also very strongly evident. So We're already at 60 now. You know, Mahaprabhu, he can explain these things, and me, as far as myself I'm concerned, I can always speak on any subject. So I'm very happy to hear this. I'm happy to hear anything from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I'm happy. Atma Shabde Kohe Chetragya Jiva Lakan Brahmade Kita Parjanta Tara Shakti Teganan. The word Atma also refers to the living entity who knows about his body, or his or her body, but the word Atma also refers to the living entity who knows about his body. That is another symptom. From Lord Brahma down to the insignificant ant, everyone is counted as the marginal potency of the Lord. Vishnu Shakti Paraprokta Chetra Gyakya Tatapara Avidya Karma Samgyaya Tritiya Shaktir Ishyate. The potency of Lord Vishnu is summarized. Let's see. It says Kita Paryanta, down to the insignificant ant. The potency of Lord Vishnu is summarized in three categories, namely the spiritual potency, the living entities, and ignorance. The spiritual potency is full of knowledge. The living entities, although belonging to the spiritual potency, are subject to bewilderment. And the third energy, which is full of ignorance, is always visible in fruitive activities. Okay. The internal energy, the marginal energy, and the external energy, or Maya. Chetragya, Atma Purusha, Pradhanam, Prakriti Striyam. The word Chetragya refers to the living entity, the enjoyer, the chief in material nature. Okay. Brahmati Jari Saru Sangapai Sabatyaji Tabe Tiho Krishnare Bajai. The living entities are wandering in different species of life on different planets. But if by chance they get the association of a pure devotee, sadhu, they give up all other engagements and engage in the service of Lord Krishna. Satyartha Kohilun Sab Krishnara Bhajane Se Artha Hoy E Sab Udaharane. I have thus explained 60 different meanings, and all of them aim at the service of Lord Krishna. After giving so many examples, that is the only meaning. Ekshasti Artha Ebe Sfurila Tomasange Tomara Bhakti Base Uteg Artera Tarange. Now, due to your association, another meaning has awakened. It is due to your devotional service that these waves of meaning are arising. Aham Vedmi. Oh, this is a very nice verse. Aham Vedmi Shuko Veti Vyaso Veti Naveti Va Bhaktya Bhagavatam Grayam Na Budya Na Cha Tikaya. Lord Shiva said, I may know, Sukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, may know, and Vyasadeva may know or may not know Srimad Bhagavatam. On the whole, Srimad Bhagavatam, the spotless Purana, can be learned only through devotional service, not by material intelligence, speculative methods, or imaginary commentaries. So this is spoken by Lord Shiva. It's an amazing verse. I may, about the Srimad Bhagavatam, I may know, Sukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, may know, And Vyasadeva, who wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam, he may know or may not know Srimad Bhagavatam. On the whole, Srimad Bhagavatam, the spotless Purana, can be learned only through devotional service, not by material intelligence, speculative methods, or imaginary commentaries. Artashuni Sanatana Vishmita Haya Stuti Kore Mahaprabhu Charane Drit Dariya. After hearing all the explanations of all the different meanings of the Atmarama verse, Sanatana Goswami was struck with wonder. He fell down at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and began to offer prayer. So what that verse of, I should read what commentary about the verse of Lord Shiva. Devotional service includes 9 processes, beginning with hearing, chanting, and remembering the activities of Lord Vishnu. Only one who has taken to devotional service can understand Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the spotless Purana for a transcendentalist, Paramahamsa. So-called commentaries are useless for this purpose. According to the Vedic injunction, Yasya Devi Parabhaktir Yata Deve Tata Goro. All Vedic injunction, according to the Vedic injunction, Yasya Devi Parabhaktir Yata Deve Tata Goro. All Vedic literatures maintain that Srimad Bhagavatam has to be learned from the person Bhagavad, and to understand it, one has to engage in pure devotional service. Srimad Bhagavatam cannot be understood by so-called erudite scholars and grammarians. One who has developed pure Krishna consciousness and has served the pure devotee, the spiritual master, can understand Srimad Bhagavatam. Others cannot. So Srila Govindamar said, if you want to learn Srimad Bhagavatam, then you have to read every verse in sequence, the whole Srimad Bhagavatam, along with the commentaries. That's how, if you're going to read Srimad Bhagavatam, he made that as prerequisite. You read, he said you can read all Bhaktivedanta Swami's verses in order with all their commentaries. Because Govindamar said you should learn Srimad Bhagavatam from a guru. Artashuni Sanatana Vishmitahaya Stuti Kore Mahaprabhu Charane Doriya. After hearing the explanations of all the different meanings of the Atmarama verse, Sanatana Goswami was struck with wonder. He fell down at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and began to offer prayers. Sakat Ishvara Tumi Brajendra Nandan Tomara Nishvase Sarva Veda Pravartan. Sanatana Goswami said, my dear Lord, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, the son of Maharaj Nanda. All Vedic literatures are vibrated through your breathing. Tumi Bhakta Bhagavate, Tumi Jana Arta, Toma Bina Anya Janite, Nahika Samarta. My dear Lord, you are the original speaker of the Bhagavatam. You therefore know its real meaning, real import. And the Atmarama verse is from the Srimad Bhagavatam. That's what Mahaprabhu is explaining. But for you, no one can understand the confidential meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhu kohe kene kora amara stavan bhagavatir swarup kene nakora vicharan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, why are you glorifying me personally? You should understand the transcendental position of Srimad Bhagavatam. Why don't you consider this important point? Okay. Why don't you consider this important point? Yes, we consider that important point. But we also consider that Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord himself, and he's the knower and understander. Understander, is that a word? Understand. He's the knower and understander of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna Tuya Bhagavat Bibhu Sarvashroy Prati shloke, prati akshare, nana artakoi. Srimad Bhagavatam is as great as Krishna, the Supreme Lord and shelter of everything. And in each and every verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, and in each and every syllable, there are various meanings. So I'll go on tomorrow, maybe. We're already at verse 318. There's 354 verses in this chapter. So maybe tomorrow I'll finish. Oops, I'll put the marker in the right place. Yeah. You see, in the Mat, they do what's called pot, right? Pot means reading. They're reading. Like, you can do it wherever you are. If you're in California or Oregon, or if you're in Utah, or if you're in Florida, or you're in Texas, or you're anywhere. You can do readings of, you can do readings of the scripture. You can do readings of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. You can do readings of the Bhagavad Gita. In fact, Bhagavad Gita is a good thing to read in the evening, because then you can have guests over and they can hear the Bhagavad Gita. And you can just read. You don't have to be a realized soul to read. You can just read, and everyone benefits by hearing. Yes?
And I'm able to watch like your classes on YouTube too, so of you reading and explaining.
That's very encouraging. I mean, it's very encouraging that people, tune in. They tune in to the Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's wonderful. Because we're just vibrating the sound that's there. It's recorded. It's in the form of written. Now, it's interesting with Prabhupada's, books and stuff like that. Like, he had a dictaphone, and he was speaking into that dictaphone, and then was being transcribed and edited. And of course, certain edited versions, they're edited in different ways. We don't necessarily know that the editors were doing things, pucka, everything was right. And the thing is, because they were on a limited budget, after that things were transcribed, they re-recorded over the original tapes, which Srila Prabhupada spoke. Well, you can't expect them to have had thousands of tapes just piled up from the floor to the ceiling. So but in the process of transcribing and editing, sometimes things could be changed. And there was you can say, even a political movement that was saying that, that things were, the only thing that should be read was the original versions of original published books, and that subsequent editions, which were edited, should not be read. And I was thinking, as an editor, I was thinking, why is that? Are you willing to say that the first editing by new devotees who were young and didn't necessarily have experience in editing, that's the preferred version? And you can't edit, you can't re-edit what they already edited anyway, and maybe edited imperfectly. So anyway, I'm just happy to read and you know, I can see certain maybe editorial inaccuracies and all that. You know, where they say, like they'll say, this means a flute of 64 different knots or something like that. That's a pretty long piece of bamboo to have 64 different knots or something. Yeah, so, I mean, some things have. But anyway. And in the Mat, that was something that Sri Chaitanya Prabhu did. I mean, he described himself as a truck driver, and he was a truck driver, but he transcribed into Bengali and published Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavad Gita of Srila Guru Maharaj, the Gaudiya Gitanjali, the songbook, and Prapana Jivanamrita. He put all those into Bengali and published them. And they could be easily edited because Tirtha Maharaj was able to go through and just say, here's a mistake, and then because it was all done on a computer, those mistakes could all be corrected in a half hour or something and republished. So it was pretty amazing. And I saw devotees come from other mats and everything, and they'd purchase the one volume edition of Chaitanya Charitamrita, which I don't know if it's on the shelf here. It's not. Oh, it is. I think it. Is this it?
Yeah, I think it might be.
Yeah. Yes. This is the first one he did, and then when it was corrected, it became orange in color, the cover. And this is the Chaitanya Charitamrita in one volume that he edited. Now you couldn't do this in one volume because and not everybody speaks the Bengali that is in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's called Sadhu Bhasha, and what they speak is Chalit Bhasha now, the modern Bengali. But an educated Bengali can understand this Sadhu Bhasha. So only the Sanskrit verses, there are many of them, but those contain translations into Bengali, and anything that's Bengali is, of course, doesn't have to be explained, it's just given. So, but people would come from all the different mats to come and purchase this volume of Chaitanya Charitamrita. And he did the same thing with Chaitanya Bhagavat. And they would come for those two books, buy them. I mean, otherwise the commentaries are like this tall and that thick, and And that service of Shuddha Shava was amazing. It was amazing. Sometimes he would speak to Govinda Maharaj in Bengali, and sometimes Gurudev would tell him, "Don't talk to me in Bengali." So his Bengali was not necessarily perfect, but he could transcribe these books. And I always thought, what kind of a friend do I have who's sometimes so curt and rough around the edges, and yet he can transcribe and put in book form all these literatures. What kind of a person is that? And towards the end, he knew he had a condition that maybe he could have corrected, maybe or maybe not. But he didn't even try, just so he could, because he didn't want to take the time off from being with Srila Govinda Maharaj. So that amazes me. Very amazing. And Udamanyu, if you see him, he just, worshipful person, but if you see him, he looks like an ordinary person almost. And yet everywhere he went, he made devotees. In China, I went there for, his disappearance celebration. There were over 100 people in the room. And crying. Some of them hysterically. So, to me, he is amazing and very dear to Srila Govinda Maharaj. Super dear. In fact, when I wanted to start the center here, Udamanyu was in Thailand. And myself and Ramai, we were living at Shrudha Shrava and Sanatani's house with their family. And not to use slang words, but I would just say, that was a trip. Living there.
I'm here,
Yeah. But it wasn't a trip because of you. It was a trip because of Shrudha Shrava.
And you also lived with Ramai, who was hard to sleep with. He was a big snorer. Yeah.
Well, you know what I did with him when we were sharing a room? He had to sleep in the closet.
Yeah.
I had him sleeping in the closet and closed the sliding doors of the closet.
We had the original Harry Potter closet with Sham, Madhavananda, and Baby Sachi underneath the stairs, staying in that closet. We were the only house. And you and G would sleep downstairs on blow-up mattresses.
Oh. Yeah, it was such an odd crew. Later with Siddhanti Maharaj. Siddhanti Maharaj would bathe in the front yard with a water hose.
After he
And-
oiled himself up with mustard oil.
And
Tiny shorts, little tiny shorts.
Yeah, there was someone here the other day wearing shorts, and I told him shorts and without a shirt, and I said, why? If you're going to be here, you have to, at least put on a T-shirt and something.
Or ripped up one like the
Or wear something different, So he said, why are you people ashamed at bodies? And I said, well, we don't need to see all that. Anyway, I stayed there. But the point was that Govinda Maharaj said, we wanted to start the temple because the temple had been closed down and we wanted to restart the temple. And Govinda Maharaj said, when Ramai will come from Thailand, then you can start the temple. Not Ramai, when Udamanyu Seva Vikram will come from Thailand, then you can start the temple, not before. So we're waiting for Udamanyu. Then Udamanyu came here, and then after a couple of weeks, he told me, I found a place on Empire Street and 17th and Empire. So then we moved into that place. Huh?
I love that house.
Yeah, you were 5 years old when you went there.
And then when Gauranga Sundar moved out of that temple room upstairs, we got to live in that room, and it was so special. We lived in the temple room when the deity moved here. But first we lived in the basement with the ladies.
Yeah, now that we don't have a temple in San Jose, of all the places, I would love to move back to that house, but I don't think it's possible. We just don't have the income to be able to pay for that.
Maybe one day.
Well, maybe one day it won't longer be within reach. I don't know. Right now, Jayanta. I'm Jayanta.
It still has a family, at least.
Yeah, it is. Jayanta and also, Shama Mohini goes there to visit and stuff. He told me that people were living there for 7, 8 years and moving out and wanted to know if we wanted to get that place or something. But I'm like, with what? I would have to mortgage here, and that is never going to happen. Never. Impossible to think. But that house is beautiful, and it's a historic site in San Jose. It's considered, I forget who's the architect was, but it's an example of Art Deco. The whole inside with all the woodwork and everything. It's like a historic place in San Jose. And across the street was, I think they changed the name, but it was Guru's Liquor Store across the street.
It's not there anymore?
I don't know. I think they changed it to Guru's Grocery Store or something. Huh?
So fun with the apricot tree and the fig tree, and we'd always play in the grass. And as a little kid, I'd explore the basement, and I'd find these like old-fashioned bottles, like super tall bottles and weird antique things.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maharaj, when we lost that place and Raj and Jayanta were asking about, do you want us to buy it like that? Should we try and get the house? And he said that it gave us shelter when we had none, so he wanted to keep it. It was so important to him. It was so sweet. And then they committed themselves to take that responsibility.
I lived in that house with Ramai, with what's his name, from Mexico. What's it? Huh? Sundar Gopal from Mexico, who now sells ice cream, and Sundar Gopal, Ramai, then your mother, and you. I had to sign as a guardian for you to get into school. Bhakti Lalita. From Janaki. She came a little later. Sharmila was a little later than that. Bimala. Govind. I went to India. Govinda told me, Bimala's father disowned her. Will you give her shelter in San Jose? I said, sure. And Bhakti Lalita also. Will you take her also? Sure, why not? While we were there, and Braja Mohini came also.
That was fun. I love that place. That was fun.
So,
I always remember that place.
Well, it's getting late. We have to eat breakfast. So I would love to get that place again, but I don't know. Property has gone so high in value that was one of the reasons we lost the place in San Jose, because they would always be remortgaging them to buy more facilities, and that's a big mistake, remortgaging. By remortgaging a place, you lose it. By remortgaging places, you lose them. People don't understand what that means, to remortgage a place. Hello. Are you here for the day or what?
We're leaving now.
Where are you going to? Oakland?
No, we're going to Los Angeles, Maharaj.
To where?
LA. Los
Los
Angeles.
Angeles.
Why you're going there?
You can ask Ajay that.
Huh? Oh, you're going to Los Angeles.
For a couple of days and then back to London.
Okay. Really? You have a place to stay there?
Airbnb.
Airbnb.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't know that Govinda Mela was finishing Tuesday, so we thought everything was finished on Sunday, so we booked everything and paid for everything.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's nice. You should go to a Dodger game.
I said, oh, that's good.
Go to his old neighborhood.
If I hear that people throw darts at me, I can't say that here. Yeah.
And they have the ISKCON temple there too.
Well, there's the. We have an ashram now. The Russians who just left, they just left this morning. I think they left this morning. The Russian, no, last night. Was it? When did the? Maybe this morning or last night. I don't know. They have a place in Malibu. Abhidut Maharaj, he bought a place in Malibu, which is incredible to think that he was complaining that California was so expensive, and it is, and then he bought a place in Malibu, which is like, like practically like buying a place in Beverly Hills,
Correct. He did get a very good price, though.
He did.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
For Malibu.
Well,
Yeah, for
Malibu.
Exactly.
Yeah, who lives in Malibu? I mean, there's you can find so many movie stars. Oh, we had a program. Oh, well, I was invited by ISKCON to speak about Prabhupada. I think it was last year or something like that. So Abhidut Maharaj took me there, and it was in Malibu, and it was at the house of I don't know actors, but it was the house of Nick. What's his name?
Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte. He's a pretty famous actor, and I think it's his wife. She's not initiated, but she's a devotee, an uninitiated devotee. So she invited all the devotees to her house. All right. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Charavaya Nama. Charavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama. Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan. Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan. Call them. Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra. Jao ete vignana shabishta puran. H.I. Gosai jar mui taradar. Dasavar pada renu mora panchagram. Pader Chanana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas Janame Janame More Ambilas H.I. Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Madhya Aman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Korea Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Narotamudam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Nitai Gora Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Nitai Gora Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo So tomorrow I'll try and finish the chapter. I'll try to stop meandering and Jai Saparikara Shri Shri Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Tilak Nehri Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmalacharya Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paramahansa Ashtatara Sadashri Srimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paramahansa Ashtatara Sadashri Srimad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Sananta Saraswati Goswami Thakur ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishordas Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivedanta Thakur ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Varga ki Jai. Namachari Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasha Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhu ki Jai. Prem Se Go Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhaktivedanta ki Jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vishvavarenya Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupad ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Kushamashra Maharaj ki Jai. Anandakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Navadip Dham ki Jai. Shri Mayapur ki Jai. Saparshada Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai. Saparshada Srimad Mahaprabhu ki Jai. Shri Goladip ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki Jai. Soquel Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Seva Ashram ki Jai. Ganga Devi ki Jai. Tulasi Maharani ki Jai. Bhakti Devi ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopi Govardhan. Sham Kunda Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Ju ki Jai. Sri Sripad Bhakti Bandhava Puri Maharaj ki Jai. Sripad Bhakti Vigrahanyasi Maharaj ki Jai. Sri Krishna Kanta Didi ki Jai. Sri Manindra Mohan Prabhu ki Jai. Sri Sanatani, okay, I already said it. Sanatani Devi ki Jai. I was going to say Saraswati Didi ki Jai. And Sri Deva Sri Devashish Prabhu ki Jai. Sita Devi ki Jai. Even Jamuna Priya ki Jai. All the assembled devotees ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari.
Srila Bhakti Pavan Maharaj ki Jai.
How long are you here, Madhura Priya? Are you going with Jamuna?
No, not this time. I'm trying to kidnap her.
Oh, don't.